Instagram facing the rage of the U.S. Senate. Head of Instagram, Adam Mosseri, testified today before the U.S. Senate Subcommittee on Consumer Protection, a day after Instagram said it is now encouraging its users to take a break from the platform and nudging them toward healthier topics. Lawmakers were not impressed.
The day before this hearing, Instagram announced a set of proposals. These simple time management and parental oversight tools they could have been announced years ago. They weren't, and in fact, these changes fall way short of what we need.
I want to bring in Adam Kovacevic, founder and CEO of the Chamber of Progress, who previously worked for many years at Google, as well as Bloomberg's Naomi Nix for a deep dive on this topic. Naomi, let's start with you. A number of testy exchanges, some very pointed questions from lawmakers, but Adam Mosseri is certainly not Mark Zuckerberg and seemed more comfortable in the room than his boss. What are your big takeaways?
I mean, I think, look, it was really, we saw two very different pictures being painted about the effect that Instagram has on young users and what Instagram is looking to do about it. And so we saw Adam really, offer a defense of the company's network. He said, he thinks that some of the controversies over its internal research are sort of essentially overplayed. He said the company plays a positive role in its in the well-being of some young users. It widens the discussions around beauty. And he said, look, there's a number of things Instagram's doing to tackle things like potential user addiction, to tackle things like problematic content. And, that really this was an industry-wide problem, not just a Facebook problem. But lawmakers were also very contentious. They said, look, Instagram needs to take more responsibility here for all these issues that we've been hearing about from parents.
There was a specific exchange with Senator Amy Klobuchar and Mosseri about the time limits that Instagram is now offering to its users. Again, these are opt-in, so a user has to decide and choose how much time they want to allow themselves to spend on the platform. The upper limit being 3 hours. Take a listen to this between Klobuchar and Mosseri.
You think 3 hours a day is an appropriate amount of time for kids to spend on Instagram?
Senator,
I'm asking this because just when you put out those new rules, that was an option for parents, 3 hours a day. Is that a good use of kids' time?
I'm a parent, and I can understand that parents have concerns about how much screen time their kids have. I think every parent feels that way. I ultimately think that a parent knows best what's best for their teen, so the appropriate amount of time should be a decision by a parent about the specific teen. If one parent wants to set that limit at 10 minutes and another parent wants to set that limit at 3 hours, who am I to say that they don't know what's best for their children?
Adam, he's saying there that he believes the responsibility is on parents. Do you agree that parents should be making that decision, or should big tech companies be giving parents better tools to set those limits?
Well, I'm a parent too, and I definitely value all of the tools that tech services, hardware and software have built over the last couple of years to give me more control. And so I don't know that I wouldn't let my kids be on anything for 3 hours in terms of a screen. My kids are young. For older teenagers, maybe those rules might make more sense. I think that does speak to something that also came up at the hearing today, which is that we do need to have really probably different approaches for different ages of kids. One of the most successful global norms that's emerged has been the United Kingdom's what they call age-appropriate design code, and that's emerging as a bit of a global standard. And that's because, unlike the U.S. children's privacy law, COPPA, which sets a rigid threshold at age 13, the UK design code differentiates between younger kids, tweens, younger teens, and teens, and gives recommends different levels of independence and parental control. So whether Congress acts or not, I think that frankly codes like that are going to continue to be the norm, and I think you're going to see more and more services like Instagram kind of designed to those recommendations.
But is 3 hours really good for anyone? Whether they're 13 or 25 or 65, is 3 hours really good for anyone to be spending on Instagram? I think that was really Senator Klobuchar's question.
Yeah, and look, I think she has a good point. And frankly, it may be that Instagram, after hearing that question, says, you know what, maybe that is a little high for the limit, the upper bound limit. These tools haven't rolled out yet, and it may be a good point of feedback for the company to say, maybe that's a little high.
There was another exchange between Senator Marsha Blackburn and Messeri about the time that he sat down with JoJo Siwa, the YouTube star, and she indicated that she's been on Instagram since she was a young child. He said, I don't want to hear about that. Take a listen to that exchange with Senator Blackburn.
At that moment, when you responded to her that you did not want to know, why didn't you use that as a teaching moment?
Senator, I would say it was a missed opportunity.
Indeed, it was a missed opportunity, and it sends the wrong message. It looked as if you were encouraging kids that want to be online stars to get on earlier and to build their audience. This is a part of our frustration.
Naomi, he did ultimately admit that he was wrong there, but does it speak to the don't ask, don't tell approach these companies have had for far too long towards children?
Look, I think Instagram only started taking, investing its technological resources to identify the true age of its youngest users at around, 2019. And so, the company hasn't been at that work for that long. And one of the other things we also saw Adam say, at the hearing was he thinks this idea of identifying a user's true age, that responsibility should also fall to some of the device makers, that it was an industry-wide problem. And so we saw him kind of, dragging his feet there.
Curious, Adam, what your take is on that and the other things that Messeri proposed. One, that the age, of the person using the device should be set at the device level and not per app. This would then be a conversation, I guess, for Apple and other device makers, or perhaps regulators could, make this law. And he also suggested the idea of this outside body to set the rules. What are your thoughts on his proposals?
Look, age verification for younger users is one of those problems that has just bedeviled tech services for a long time, frankly, because there is not really a great way of doing it. Having said that, my understanding is that some of the companies that have tried this and had the most success are services like Xbox, where the age verification process is hardware level and it's upon setup, where a parent has to be involved in the setup. And so the same principle certainly could be applied to a smartphone or other hardware devices. It would require industry collaboration. Frankly, I think it also could end up being a differentiator for whatever company chose to implement that technology in terms of having really reliable age verification built in.
All right. Well, certainly much to continue to follow, and we'll be watching how Washington digests this new testimony. Adam Kovacevic of the Chamber of Progress, great to have you back, along with our very own Naomi Nix. Appreciate it.